If you were 2-7, you'd be in a bad mood too.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. And he hits the upright again. That's impossible.
Get your mouth shut. Get your mouth shut. Jerk.
The Bears' season's going to end on a double doink.
If worms had machine guns, then birds wouldn't be scared of them.
Hey everybody! Welcome to the Word Media presentation of the Limp Ditkas podcast. I'm Rasputin.
You are Rasputin. Yeah, that was Pete, aka Rasputin. I am Ryan.
So deemed yesterday.
Yeah, I like that. It made sense to me. I'm Ryan, also known as Smitty. This is the Limp Ditkas podcast. We've got a big show for you tonight. We've got a recap of the national championship game that was boring as fuck.
I mean, nail biter. Nail biter.
We have lots of NFL playoff action to talk about last weekend and going forward. We've got a ridiculous decision by the Chicago Bears to retain their coach and general manager. And we've got a little bit of Cowboys and Lions news to talk about. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and jump into the news. 2 nights ago, national championship game.
Wow, yeah.
Much ballyhooed. Couldn't have been much more boring than it was. I mean, it was sort of a game like Ohio State kind of stuck with them for maybe the first 2 or 3 possessions. I think they scored on the first 2 drives or something like that. It was close for a while, and then it was just obvious it was going to be a blowout. And it was. And once again, Alabama celebrates. Not a whole lot of social distancing going on in their celebration in Tuscaloosa.
Super spreader.
Yeah, it was a little disturbing, but hey.
On multiple levels.
Yikes. I just, the national championship game used to be one of my favorite nights of the year, and it's just losing something. It might be that we keep seeing the same teams every year.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like the same 4 teams. Last year LSU won it, so that was a bit refreshing. But I don't know. I've got some theories. I don't want to overrun this. What were your thoughts in the game before we get into how to make things better? I guess.
I mean, I don't know if there is a way to make things better, but I'm
I'll tell you.
I'm willing to listen, but
thank you.
I'm willing to listen to your whack theories. But the game went the way I thought it would. In fact, I was so confident it was going to go that way that I laid some money down on a boost I got from FanDuel for Alabama to win, and I won a decent amount of money. So thank you, Alabama. I think the game to me was a little bit it was more one-sided than I thought it was going to be. I thought Alabama would ultimately win. The fact that Ohio State showed zero defensive capability of slowing them down, despite them repeatedly running the same play over and over again for touchdowns, the wide receiver sweep.
Heisman wide receiver.
Heisman wide receiver was mind-boggling to me. And that does, to me, that then left some questions about Ohio State on the table. I mean, they ended up beating Clemson, so Dabo Sweeney can shut up. But at the same time, like, Notre Dame couldn't get their offense going, but defensively they held them to 31 points. So, like, I don't know what the answer is, which you're going to tell me, but until everyone,
I don't have defensive answers. I don't know.
No. But I mean, because here's the deal.
I wouldn't be doing a podcast if I had those answers.
Here is the deal. There is no better recruiting in the country than Alabama.
All right, no more clapping.
It's unbelievable. There's a reason they're tight ends from Chicago. That guy should be playing on Illinois, Indiana, Notre Dame, anywhere in the Midwest. He shouldn't be in Alabama. Michigan State, whatever. He should be in Alabama. Then they have someone else who is like from California on their team. Like I don't think there's ever been a team that's recruited like that. Not that I can remember. That normally, like, Florida teams are good because there's a lot of talent in Florida, football wise, and they draw from that portion of the country. But Alabama has no boundaries. They take players from everywhere. And
well, they're established as the best. They have the best coach who now has 7 national championships, and it's just going to self-perpetuate.
I mean, Nick Saban basically changed the face of college football, kind of forever.
Yeah, he finally passed Bear Bryant for a number of national championships. I don't know. I think the only hope for that kind of change is maybe Prick Saban gets bored and just retires or goes the NFL or does something else, because it's just a machine in Alabama. I don't see that changing anytime soon. But one thing that could easily change, that could make the national, at least the national championship game, a little more enticing or a little more of a big deal in the media landscape is, don't play it on a fucking Monday night. What are we doing?
Yeah,
why are
exactly.
why are we doing this? Why is it on a Monday night? First of all, Monday night's just a shit night anyway. In early January, like that's not a party night. That's not an event. I think the theory behind it might be mimicking the college basketball national championship. Has always been on a Monday, which is fine. That's in April and there's nothing else going on then. You do this on a Monday, it's boring enough, but you do it on the Monday after 6 NFL playoff games just happened the weekend before, the night before. And that's all anyone's talking about all day long on Monday is all the NFL games, and the national championship is a complete afterthought. I forgot that the game was even going on. I remembered like late Sunday night, oh shit, we've got the national championship tomorrow night. It was such an afterthought. It's just obliterated by the hype of the NFL and the product of the NFL. Like, so as long as they're going to be playing the national championship in January, why put it up against right after a playoff weekend? Move it to a Thursday. That's my idea. Put it on a Thursday night. There's, you'd have some time for the NFL games to be digested and deconstructed on Sports Talk Radio and everywhere else. You've got not a hell of a lot else going on in January anyway, but on the weekends, that's pro football. That is playoff time. So move it to a Thursday night, which is at least for college, maybe not for old guys like us so much anymore, but it's a party night much more than a Monday night is. Then it becomes more of an event. People are out at the bars and other times that aren't ruled by a pandemic, but I don't understand the thought process of putting on a Thursday or on a Monday night. Maybe Friday's kind of a lame night for games just traditionally, and then Saturdays and Sundays are just going to be the NFL's territory no matter what. So that's why I thought a Thursday would be awesome. And for all those reasons, I think it would just work a lot better. And beyond getting the competition to be a little more interesting, that'd be a simple solution that I think would work.
I mean, yeah. I truly do miss the days, though, of everything really taking place on New Year's Day. All your big games.
But they do the national semifinal on New Year's Day, which I think is cool. I mean, that's an event. That was almost a more hyped, more exciting day than the national championship was.
I don't know. I mean, you're right. A Monday night, coming off of what was a tremendous weekend of NFL football, you're almost kind of footballed out to a degree.
Yeah. I mean, we just saw 6 games. I mean, we might as well just forget college football for the year now. Let's jump into the NFL and talk about those 6 incredible games, or to varying degrees, I guess. Over the weekend, we had Super Wild Card Weekend, which I don't remember. I mean, this is the first time there's ever been 6 wild card games in a weekend. Is that true? Or 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday?
Yeah,
so they had to call it Super Wild Card Weekend for the expanded playoffs. I don't know. I figured we could go through the AFC and just talk about what our thoughts on some of those games. Some are better than others, but
I mean, we opened up with the Bills Colts, and
I like that. That was pretty fun.
That game went, yeah, that the Colts responded a lot better than I thought they were to the Bills, and that game, went right down to the wire. It was a fun football game.
If they didn't have a fossil of a quarterback in Phil Rivers, he may have been able to throw that Hail Mary into the end zone.
It probably wasn't a spiral. It probably wasn't a spiral either. I mean, some of the balls those poor Colts receivers are asked to catch are little wobblers coming at you. But I mean, it was like that. I mean, the only sad news of the game is that Zach Moss got injured and had to be carted off the field. Other than that, I mean, it was entertainment value to the fullest, and was like the perfect kickoff to the weekend.
Yeah, the Bills and the Bills Mafia get their first playoff victory in 25 years, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, lots
of tables were broken. Lots of things set on fire. I did see some meme where a dude jumped off a van to break a table and he broke his leg instead.
That's fitting. That's very fitting.
That was total Bills Mafia. Love it.
I mean,
so I always hated the Bills, but I've kind of rooting for them now. I'm actually rooting for a lot of teams in this playoff that share a similar plight with the Lions with playoff ineptitude. So I'm kind of rooting for the underdog in a lot of these games.
Yeah, and then the next AFC game was the Ravens Titans, and
that was a battle.
Lamar, if you watch the pregame, you got to hear Lamar talk about the poop that wasn't a poop. That was literally just lay crapping, according to Lamar.
No,
still,
that was poop,
but it was not poop according to Lamar. But yeah, anyway, Lamar.
I don't care what that dude says. That was poop.
Lamar Jackson wins his first playoff game, and he literally won that game. I mean, the dude there was. I don't know if did you watch the whole game?
No, I missed parts of it, but
I don't know if you saw this play. This is like in the third quarter or so, and it's a quarterback draw, and he runs into the middle, like right up the middle, and the minute he saw the opening, it literally was like someone freaking like Road Warrior turning on the nitrous on the car. I mean, he just was gone. And then they did tackle him because because he just ran straight up the middle, and the secondary got him, like one of the safeties. But I was like, I don't think I've ever seen like just a player accelerate like that.
It's hard to remember seeing anything like that shows that kind of difference in raw speed at the NFL level. Like, to have one guy that's that much faster than everybody else is just insane. So yeah, I mean, that was a big hurdle for Lamar Jackson across, because he had lost, he'd won the MVP but hadn't won a playoff game. So getting that out of the way is a big thing that I think the NFL needs to be a little bit nervous about. If they can figure things out, they could be really dangerous, like with a quarterback like that.
Yeah, I mean, if they could get more wide receiver talent around him, I mean, really, it's him, Mark Andrews, an over the hill Des Bryant, a medium, a slightly over the hill William Snead. I mean, like the core of receivers around him isn't good, but running, I mean, who's the rookie running back? Is it Boykin or whatever? He's insane too. So, I mean, they're fine from a running standpoint. But I think the most impressive thing, though, for the game for me, like Lamar Jackson taking control of the game isn't surprising if you've watched any Ravens games, but they just were able to completely shut down Derrick Henry, which was the path.
That's shocking.
And that was the path to victory for them, and they did it. And I mean, he was visibly frustrated. You could see he was visibly frustrated on the sideline, and they not only did that, they kept Tannehill's not a crappy quarterback by any stretch, and they it was bend not break, and they did it. Like it was like it's 20-13. You're like, oh, how exciting of a game was that? It was pretty exciting for a 2013 game. I mean,
it's kind of incredible.
I enjoyed it, and I especially enjoyed watching that.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just
No,
saying
you
it's
go.
pretty incredible to hold Derrick Henry and Tannehill to 13 points in a playoff game.
Yeah,
That was
uh, unbelievable. But that was great. And then
Sunday
the
night.
the Sunday night game, which I was licking my chops for, because let me spin a little tale before we get into this game. So I get a text because there's two of us on this text thread of dads of kids that Charlie's either played baseball with or goes to school with or both or whatever. And two of us, myself and my friend Dan, we use like the FanDuel sites and that whatever to casually bet. And so they're like, so who's winning tonight? And I'm like, oh, it's the Browns are totally winning the game. Not a problem at all. And they're like, you're nuts, stick to smoking meats, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, guys, I'm nearly perfect this whole weekend. And I'm like, have you watched the Pittsburgh Steelers this
Yeah.
season? I mean, like they should have
Well, the
lost
last 6 weeks. I mean, they were
they should have lost
undefeated.
they should have lost to the Cowboys though.
Right.
There's a couple games in there where they remained undefeated, and then they go 1-for-4 in their last 5. I mean,
Right.
that is not a good looking team coming in. So,
But there's no way you could have predicted what we saw in that first quarter.
no, I said it was going to be 31 27 Browns. Little did I know that would be scored nearly in the 31 points would nearly be scored in the first quarter. Oh my God. It was just I'm not a Ben Roethlisberger fan, never have been, but
rapist, motorcycle crasher.
Yeah, right, exactly. There's numerous reasons, countless reasons, but like just watching that demise, I kind of like for a minute there, I was like, I felt bad for you for like 1 second, but then I'm like
crying on the bench by the end.
Never mind. It's okay. You deserve it.
He'll be all right.
I mean, I'm just happy. I kind of like the Bills thing. I kind of like the fact that the Browns like made a statement like this.
That was a statement. Yeah. 48-37 was the final, I believe.
Yeah.
It wasn't really even that close. I mean, it was. But yeah, I mean, Cleveland's first victory in however many fucking years. Again, that's another team that I'm pulling for just because of their ineptitude. Well, they hadn't made the playoffs in 2 decades. So yeah, I mean, it's fun to see that. I don't know how much of that is Cleveland, how much of that was just complete ineptitude by the Steelers. Just, I mean, the opening snap going over Roethlisberger's head, and then Roethlisberger just looking at the ball and unwilling to fall on it.
Yeah, right. I mean,
that was hilarious, and it just went from there. But you got to be happy. It's probably the greatest moment in a lot of Browns fans' lives, that are in their 20s or 30s. Not much has happened for them in a long time, so got to be happy for those guys. Do you want to jump over to the NFC half of Super Wildcard Weekend?
Yeah, and I that kicked off with the Rams and Seahawks. Which the Seahawks...
That was a shit game. I'm sorry. I did not have any enjoyment of that.
I did not really enjoy that game much either. And maybe it's because I like and respect Russell Wilson, and I just wanted to see him do better. And they were kind of iffy, like as they too kind of like Pittsburgh were having issues down the stretch going into the playoffs, but I actually thought they were gonna, like there's a Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll's been there the entire time of their winning ways. I kind of thought they were just gonna snap to it because it was playoff time, but man, that Rams defense like came in there and just held them in check. But even though there was 50 points scored in it.
Yeah,
it was the most boring 50 points.
I was just thinking the same thing. I was shocked that there were actually 50 points scored in that because I thought it was like a 12-10 game. It just felt like nothing happened that entire game. It's just, I don't know how. maybe some of that has to do with no crowds in the stands. It's just, especially in Seattle,
Yeah.
they're so known for their 12th man and how loud and crazy it is there. There's none of that, obviously, or a very diminished version of that. So that's the only thing I can think of, because I was so fired up for this weekend, but I feel like a lot of the games kind of let me down. Like I wasn't into them as much as I thought I was going to be. Another example of that was Tampa Bay versus football team.
That was a great game, and the football team almost pulled it out.
That's true. It's true. Heineken, whatever the quarterback is.
Heineke,
Yeah,
Kaniki?
He did have that one play miraculous play where he dove for the end zone and caught the pylon for a touchdown. That was impressive. And it was nice having a rooting interest against Tampa Bay, because I have no desire to see Tom Brady and get any further in the playoffs, but unfortunately he did over a football team. I didn't have much.
I just love it on Yelper because that's their name. It's just so ridiculous.
It's the best. I think they're going to keep it too. It sounds like. I mean, people love it. I thought they would.
I can't wait.
Sell a bunch of merch that just says football team, and then make a real name and sell a bunch more merch. But
yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, so this would have been we didn't do this last week, but this would have been my upset special for the week.
Oh.
Would have been Washington over Tampa Bay, and I thought defensively they were going to keep Grandpa under check. Unfortunately, it was almost as if they tried so hard to confuse him that they confused themselves defensively, thus letting up 31 points. But, it was, what was it? It was 24-23 down the stretch there. And, I thought, holy shit, this is going to happen. And, then of course, Brady does what Brady does, orchestrates a game-winning drive. So,
well, that sets up a matchup of Grandpa versus other Grandpa, as Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints advanced past the hapless Chicago Bears, 21-9. 21-9 was much closer than it actually was, because
let's just put it at 21-3.
Yeah,
because
final play of the game being a Jimmy Graham miraculous Jimmy Graham touchdown, one-handed in the end zone, and he just ran off the field.
Yeah, is he signed a multi-year deal, or was that him announcing that he's not coming back next year? I mean,
I was wondering that, because he scored a touchdown on the last play against his former team while playing for a team that I can't believe he'd want to play much longer for. So it would have been a perfect moment just to exit stage left, as he literally did.
He's gone.
He gone. But we talked about this last week, that the Bears had no chance. They had no business being in the playoffs, and they certainly showed that. I mean, it was just an awful performance, and yet the announcement came last night that Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy are returning for the 2021 season, just as we predicted last week, because that's what the Bears do.
I mean, that's just ludicrous. I think ludicrous is probably the best. It's criminal.
I think it's hilarious. More power to him. Keep the ineptitude rolling. That's fine with me. I'd love to see it. Their mediocrity and incompetence, basically. I mean, Matt Nagy, I don't know what you could say about him. I have more trouble with Ryan Pace.
Yeah, I have more trouble with Pace than Nagy.
I haven't heard much about what the plans are for Mitch Trubisky, where they could still franchise tag him and retain him if they wanted to. They did not renew it. They did not pick up his 5th year, but I think they could still franchise him because they don't have a quarterback. So what's their plan? I don't know. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Well,
it is so comical. Just like one other thought. I mean, you're leaving. Yeah. I wouldn't have been surprised for Nagy to be retained, because as you and I have discussed, he didn't pick Trubisky.
Yeah,
that was there when he got there. So I could see him giving him a little bit of a pass on that. But the idea of you're in need of a quarterback and you're going to leave the guy in charge who completely fucked up that draft
Yeah.
and got this underachiever, to be your starting quarterback. I mean, come on. That's just like you said, it's hilarious. Like there's no reason to believe that they are going to be competitive anytime soon.
I agree. I'm going to love every minute of it. I think we're going to jump into our predictions for the divisional playoff weekend, which we got into a little bit with the grandpas facing each other. But before we do that, let's take a bit of a break, and we'll be right back on the Wordhole Media Network.
Wordhole Media.
Do you want to go ahead and jump into those divisional playoff matchups?
Yeah, I've got them up on the screen here, so we'll just go in the order. I've got them up with spreads, because that's what.
Okay, I don't have that. I have AFC and NFC, so go ahead. I'll go on your list.
We'll start with the first game at 3:35
On Saturday.
On Saturday, which is LA Rams versus the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field.
At the frozen tundra.
Yeah, you got to go just for conditions alone. Most likely, you got to go with the Packers. Yeah, I mean,
that's a no-brainer. What is the spread though? I'm curious.
6.5. Right now, this is FanDuel, so this is something in Illinois you can actually go and do. So yeah, it's -6. It's 6.5. The over under is 45.5. I have not seen the weather forecast yet. Although the last time I watched the Packers play in the snow, they put up like 30 plus points, so it didn't seem to really freaking matter.
I think you got to go Green Bay either way.
You got to go Green Bay.
Win and the points.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. The Rams defense is the number one defense, but I think the Aaron Rodgers and company will have an answer for. You
just said it, Aaron Rodgers. That's all you need to say. They'll get by the Rams.
The next game, which is a little more intriguing, is an AFC game that's on Saturday night at 7:15. Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills
at Buffalo Stadium, or what is that stadium called?
Yeah, I don't even know what the frick the stadium's called. So we're in another situation where you could have some cruddy weather, but both teams play outdoors in cruddy weather, so that won't really factor in there. The Bills are 2.5-point favorites, but I'm going to ride the Lamar Jackson train right into the championship round and say, sorry, Bills geese, you had your round, you're going home.
Wow, at home. I'm going to disagree there. I like Josh Allen. I like their offense. I like the swagger he's playing with. Their defense is good enough. God, that's going to be a great game, though. That's going to be fun. But I'm going to go with the home team there. I'm not sure they will cover that 2.5, but I think the Bills will win that one.
They're not expecting a lot of defense in this game. The over/under is 50.5.
All right.
But that's a tough one. I'm gonna have to do some research on that before I make any predictions, which I normally do. I look at some analytics and things like that.
You do those predictions next week?
No, yeah, I'm gonna do them after they've played. But I mean, I would say based on what Baltimore's defense did with the Titans last week. If they were able to hold Derrick Henry in check, they're certainly going to be able to hold the Buffalo Bills running game in check. I think you got to go under all the way on this one. So,
all right. So what's the early game on Sunday?
Oh boy, Browns Chiefs. But so at Arrowhead. Obviously, I think we're both going to go Chiefs on this one.
Yeah, what's the spread?
But it's 10-point spread, and I think Cleveland's gonna be in shooting distance of that.
I like that. I think that's a giant that's a giant spread. But
Yeah.
you've seen the Chiefs cover that many times though. So
And here's what I would go over on this game 100%. It's
ooh,
57 and a half points. They're both
yeah,
probably going to be in the 30s easily.
yeah, that's a good call. I like that.
So,
I like those calls.
so there you go on that one. and then roll in the wheelchairs, get the walkers ready. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New Orleans Saints.
Tom Brady is 43 years old, and I believe Drew Brees is turning 42 years old either tonight or tomorrow. Does he share a birthday with you? Is your birthday tomorrow?
My birthday is tomorrow. The only person I know that shares a birthday with me is Mr. Dave fucking Grohl. And that's all I need to know.
Cool.
And there is the third Foo Fighters song will be released tomorrow from the upcoming record, Medicine at Midnight, which comes out February 5th. Anyway,
Are you paid for this?
mm-mm.
I'll drop that in the next ad break.
It's a birthday present to me though. Another new
Happy
Foo Fighter
birthday,
song.
Pete.
Oh, hey, thanks guys.
Happy
Thanks,
birthday,
Smitty.
Dave Grohl.
And happy birthday, Drew Brees. Is that true?
It's this week at some point. So yeah,
Okay.
he's turning 42. So they will be a combined 85 years old in this playoff game, which would be a record for a
God.
playoff game. Yeah, I don't see. I mean, I didn't see Tampa Bay doing much last week, so I don't see how they can beat New Orleans. What is the spread on that one?
3.
I'm
Close to a pick 'em there.
I would take New Orleans and the points, no matter what. They're gonna win this.
The over under is 51 and a half. Now New Orleans is a different team at home, but I mean they were at home last week and only could muster 21 against the Bears.
That's kind of surprising actually, but it was more than what they needed. That game was never in doubt. So
yeah, I mean that's going to be right there, most likely, for the winner. I mean, the winner is definitely going to need probably 28 to 31 points. So then you're saying, is someone else going to score 22 points or more in that?
I'm going to say no. Let's take the under.
All right, we'll go under on that one. So
that sets up for the championship games. What do we got then? So we've got
Packers,
and
we're in disagreement. You're saying Bills, Chiefs, and I'm saying Ravens, Chiefs.
Wow, I like either of those games. Those will be cool. I'm going to go ahead and predict the Bills will lose to the Chiefs. So the Chiefs will be in the Super Bowl once again. And I will predict, God damn it, I don't want to predict a Packers-Chiefs fucking Super Bowl, but I have to. I'm going Packers-Chiefs for the Super Bowl, with the Chiefs winning back-to-back Super Bowls for the first time. When was the last time? Were the Cowboys the last ones to win back-to-back Super Bowls? The 90s?
Yeah.
I don't know anyone else doing it, but
did the Ravens go back-to-back? No.
You know what? I wonder if the Broncos did the last year's Elway, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
We'll get back to you guys on that one. But so I'm going to go with the Chiefs winning it all once again. So what are your predictions for?
My predictions are I'm riding the Lamar train all the way to Super Bowl victory. Woo-hoo!
Nice.
Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens will defeat the Green Bay Packers because there's no way the Saints are going into Lambeau and winning a football game.
I don't see that.
I mean, I don't want to take us backwards in this podcast, but the reason that score wasn't 28, by the way, to 21 was because somehow they thought it was a good idea to have one of the shortest quarterbacks in football on a 4th and 1 try to jump over the top of the pile and score a touchdown. I mean,
it was questionable.
Yeah, I mean, I would have just given it to Kamara or I can't think of the other guy's name, and then let them. And if they don't get it, then you don't get it. But I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
but anyway, So Packers, Ravens in the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson works his magic because here's the thing about Lamar Jackson. I didn't say this before, but like your worst nightmare, Lamar Jackson, is a busted play. Because then it's all off. All bets are off. Especially if they've run the receivers deep and wide and he can work the field. I mean, forget about it.
He's an agent of chaos.
He is an agent of chaos. So there you go. We got our quick recap. Smitty goes with Packers Chiefs in the Super Bowl with the Packers losing to the Chiefs. Yes. Chiefs winning 2 in a row. Mahomes, who I could see that happening. I'm going with the other kid, Lamar Jackson, Madden 21. Yeah, Madden 21 cover boy going all the way to the Super Bowl and beating the Packers. So the Packers are losing no matter how we slice this up.
Nice. Well, there's our predictions. I guess we go into news for the teams that you and I follow. There's some coaching and GM news for the Lions, but I think you want to start out with the Cowboys defensive coordinator.
Than happy. I'm so happy. Like they wasted. I actually went into this offseason thinking we were going to have another year of Mike Nolan and being told that now with a year under their belt, the team's going to have a better understanding of the defense and they're going to play better. And they didn't do that. They just, boom, Mike Nolan out. Then they saw the opportunity to bring in Dan Quinn, who recently fired as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons after starting off 0-5. But let's not forget that he's also the defensive coordinator of the Legion of Boom.
Wow.
At their height, where they led the league in turnovers and they won Super Bowls. This is an exciting time for Cowboys football because I think the defense has talent there. I just think they were not utilized properly this season. And you got a Dak Prescott coming back. You got a top 10 draft pick that is almost criminal. And you get to play not the hardest schedule because of where you finished. So I'm really excited about next season for the Cowboys. I guarantee they'll be in the playoffs next year.
If you go 500, you'll be in the playoffs next year. So
we're gonna
not a high bar to.
Well, we'll see if it plays out the same. But
well,
yes.
Congratulations! I'm happy for you. You just won the off season, apparently. So
yeah, we did. We just won the off season. We were going to win the off. We're going to. Well, it wasn't going to be hard to do in winning the off season, knowing that Dak Prescott was coming back. So
that helps.
Yeah,
that'll help. Well, there's a little bit of Lions GM and coaching search news. There's actually some drama this morning. There's what was posted as breaking news was the Lions had extended a contract offer to Pittsburgh general manager Kevin Colbert. And it was up to him whether he wanted to take the job or not. And that went on for a few hours this morning. It started on 97.1 The Ticket, Detroit Sports Talk Radio, and it kind of went around social media until it was debunked eventually because the Lions would need to have permission to speak to an active
yes,
GM, and no one from the Lions had officially reached out to the Steelers to get permission to speak to their GM. So that was shot down summarily. It's kind of a bummer because that led to a lot of excitement. People probably outside of Pittsburgh and Detroit don't know who Kevin Colbert is because GMs and GM candidates aren't necessarily top of mind outside of your own markets. But Kevin Colbert should be a name that all Lions fans know because he was, I believe, his pro scouting director for the Lions in 1990 through 1999. Which happened to be the greatest years of my lifetime in Lions history. 2 division championships. No, but 2 division championships, several playoff berths, playoff win. There's an argument to be made that a young Kevin Colbert who came through that regime should have been promoted to general manager in 2001 instead of he who shall not be named on this podcast ever again. And you wonder what would have happened considering Kevin Colbert did go to the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2000. Not as the GM. I forget exactly what his position was, but he became GM finally in 2010. And in his 20 years with the Steelers, they of course won 2 Super Bowls, have made the playoffs, I think, every single year. The Steelers are the paradigm for success. Just everything that the Lions are not. So the idea that he could be coming to Detroit, a return to Detroit, was very tantalizing, and it was kind of a bummer to find out that was all bullshit. So they are looking into one thing I do appreciate that they're doing is they're looking at assistant GMs with a lot of other successful teams. I don't remember all the names. I know that they're looking at the GMs for assistant GMs of the Rams, Saints. I think one was the Vikings, and I forget who the 4th team was, but just I appreciate they're not just leaning on a bullshit consultant like Ernie Accorsi, who has brought you such GM hits as Ryan Pace and Bob Quinn.
Boo, boo.
You know, they're going after, you know, not necessarily the top names that everyone's, you know, has at the tip of their tongue, but they're going after experienced assistant GMs, and they've actually been going after standing GMs, as John Schneider from the Seattle Seahawks was, and I thought potentially Kevin Colbert from the Steelers. But so I guess I like the direction, you know, of their interviewing process a lot more than last time. So we'll see there. But
Yeah, it sounds. I mean, it really does sounds promising. So
the coaching search still goes, which I still feel is a mistake. I think you have to hire your GM and either have him make the decision or at least have him being on board to help make that decision on who your coach is. It just seems stupid to have your coach hired and then go get the GM. But that's the Lions. So there's tons of different interviews being had. There's lots of rumors. There's different front runners every day. It seems like last week it was Robert Saleh, who would be my number 1 pick. This week it's a little more convoluted. Doesn't sound like Saleh it sounds like he might be going to the Jets now. So I'm not sure where things stand. But one rumor that was out there that I thought was kind of preposterous, but it gained some traction last week, was Pat Fitzgerald, Northwestern Wildcats football coach.
Oh, interesting.
Whose name often gets put out there for different coaching jobs, whether it's higher ranks in the college ranks or in the NFL. And I've got 2 reasons why that's not going to happen. One, I think, well, lots of reasons actually. One, I think there's only one place Pat Fitzgerald would possibly leave Northwestern for, would be the Chicago Bears. And that's where I thought there might be an opportunity if the Bears had done the smart thing and got rid of their GM and coach this week, but they chose not to. But there's literally no incentive for Pat Fitzgerald to leave the incredible program that he's helped build at Northwestern. He has all the support of his athletic director, Northwestern has all sorts of cash. They have built incredible training facilities. He's set for life at Northwestern because the expectations are so different than obviously they would be in a pro level, or at any higher level of college, you know, Michigan or Notre Dame or wherever he's been rumored to be going. You know, if he doesn't perform, if he has 2 bad years, he'd be fired. And that's not the case at Northwestern. I also have a little bit of insider information that is fun to share on a podcast, in that you and I happen to be friends with Pat Fitzgerald's cousin, Joe Fitzgerald.
Fitz.
Joe Fitz, a good friend of mine. we've had conversations about that. Not that he knows anything, he knows a little more than most just because he's his cousin. They do communicate a bit, but we haven't talked about Pat in probably 2 years, but he's Joe pretty much solidified that, thinking that there's no reason for Pat ever to leave Northwestern. He's getting paid millions of dollars. He is a god in Evanston. He played for the team. He has low pressure. He has produced tremendously. Basically, if Michigan State hadn't upset Northwestern this year and they could have pulled off the upset against Ohio State, they would have been in the college football playoffs this year. And so there's just no incentive for him. And again, I think there's less incentive for him to go to the Lions of all franchises. The only one I could see him possibly going to is the Bears. And I think that's only because he grew up a Bears fan. He wouldn't have to uproot his family as they're all in Evanston. So that just the idea of Pat Fitzgerald getting thrown out there for a Lions job is ludicrous to me. So I'm going to shoot that one down, but no decisions yet. I think it's going to be I would say this week or next week at the latest, we're going to hear at least a coach or a GM is hired for the Lions, and then we can move from there. So other than that, I think we covered everything that's been happening in pro and college football. That is the end of the college football season. So we've just got NFL playoffs to go over, and that'll be fun to talk about, see how our predictions went next week. Anything else you wanted to talk about this week, or Pete forgot?
No, Pete's been pretty good at not forgetting his shit right now.
Nice.
So.
Well, maybe it's the Rasputin thing you got going on.
It might be.
He's known for his large memory or something else, or a weird beard.
Whatever.
All right. So if that is it, I think we are going to call this Dagger Time. Before, I guess I do need to mention, we can be found on social media at Limp Ditka's. I can't say it again. Limp Ditka's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find us at limpditkas.com, and you can find the podcast anywhere you'd like to find a podcast. So check us out. So yeah, again, this is Dagger Time. We out. Peace.
Peace.